Are competitive games worth playing? That's my question today. It seems like competitive games appeal to a certain primitive desire that we have to climb a leaderboard or prove that we're perhaps better than another player. And yet, the truth is, it doesn't matter how much you play competitive games. You don't have anything to show for it. You can't say to someone, look at what I've built in this game. Look what I've created. Or look at this really cool save file that I have going. It just is what it is. You play a match, and then you play another match, and they tend to be pretty big time sinks. Because if you don't play enough, then you're not going to be good enough. Which means you're at a disadvantage. And it's no fun to play a game so that you can lose consistently. Which means whenever you get into competitive games, you wind up getting yourself into a time sink. Whether it's a RTS like Age of Empires, or a MOBA like perhaps League of Legends. Increasingly, I feel like competitive games don't need to be in my portfolio of games I play. Not because I'm opposed to them, but because I have only so much time to play games. And I want to make sure that I'm able to spend plenty of time on the ones that I really enjoy. I have builds that I've been working on for quite some time in Cities Skylines. I want to finish them. I want to finish them so that I can move on and play other building games that I have in my library that I haven't gotten around to yet. I have my time that I like to spend in a MMO, and I've already cut out a lot of other RPGs because I've realized I only need to spend so much time playing games where I'm running around, controlling a character, gathering things, killing mobs, and doing other RPG style activities. One good RPG is probably enough. And I'd rather have one that I can truly say I'm immersed in, rather than a whole bunch of them that I'm trying to juggle. All of this to say that adding how I'm going to fit in competitive MOBAs and shooters and RTSs into the mix leaves me feeling like I'm probably better off just not even worrying about those. There's so many amazing games where you can sit down, you can play the game, and then when you're done, you'll have something to show for it. Something that you spent those hours building, creating, rather than just being able to say that you spent time gaming. Now, the worst of competitive gaming is undoubtedly games that do not put you on an equal playing field. Pay-to-win games, where the person who's played the game the longest, or the person who's spent the most with their credit card, wind up being the best players on the leaderboard. Or games which seem to subtly lure people in with a free-to-play model, only to then set them at just enough of a disadvantage to make them feel like they need to spend more money to upgrade themselves in some way. It's that illusion that you will be good enough if you spend just a little bit more money, or if you grind just a little bit more. pay-to-win games are something that I think we'd be best leaving out of our portfolio, no matter how great those games otherwise might be. But the purpose of this video is specifically talking about competitive games in general, and whether we really need to spend, or should spend, a great deal of time on games that primarily are just about climbing a leaderboard and having a better score than another player. Sometimes I think that competitive tendency is not necessarily the most uplifting thing either, and that brings me to the issue of toxicity. The more competitive a game is, the more likely you are to find other players who aren't a particularly good sport about each other. And if you're going to spend time gaming, why spend time on a title where people might put you down or say hostile things to you over something that ultimately you have invested your free time and your money on being able to play? I'll close with this thought that we should focus on things that are uplifting, things that are edifying, things that are noble and worthy of praise. Life gives us many opportunities to find those things, to spend time focusing on those things. It also gives us a lot of opportunities to be distracted by things that don't necessarily fit the bill. So as you look at your life, ask yourself if you're really getting good fruit out of the things you're spending your time on. And if you're not, then focus on cutting some things out. That's been my theme lately, cutting things out. Making a point to spend less time looking for the next thing and more time on a few quality things that I already have in my portfolio of games and things on my list to do. Sometimes it seems like if you jump into the next thing, it's going to be better. But if you just slow down, you calm down, and you really sink quality time into one of your old favorite things, you might find that it's enough, and it's been enough all along. And you don't necessarily need to keep on chasing the next rank in the leaderboard, the next new game coming out. It's been a bit of a journey, I would say. A journey realizing that there's a lot of amazing titles and games that I am tempted to want to sink my time into. And then also coming to an understanding that it's that distraction that's kept me from actually enjoying gaming. Lately, I've just kept it down to a couple of games, and I'm more likely just to play one of my city builders and one RPG at a time. And amazingly, I find that having 2 games on my desktop instead of 20 does me more good than harm. And I wind up having more fun with those 2. As for the other 20, well, I'll get to them. Perhaps. When I wish to. But I don't think I really need to fit competitive gaming into that mix. I think I'm perfectly fine to enjoy the thought of playing those games and then let them take the back seat. Not to say that there's not games that have some element of competition in them. For example, ESO does have an element of competition in it, but it's not purely a competitive game where you just play match after match and never have anything to show for it. Whatever you do, have fun doing it. Till next time, thank you for watching.